rent to the developer over there. Who knows if they went up on the rent or not? I don't know. Prescription drugs is their bread and butter. That's why we grew up. Walgreens was what? A drugstore. And it has been known that their profit margin on prescription drugs has been shrinking over the years. I talked to somebody at Walgreens, and I've mentioned this on the air before, that they were saying that's why the stores are closing, is because of their prescription drug profit margin has been shrinking for years now. Now, you couple that with theft and rent and everything, and the tariffs, then some stores are going to close, guys. Whether they're Walgreens or Marshalls or whatever, theft is a factor, one factor among many. I just want to be clear on that. Stores have always been able to factor in what they call shrinkage or theft into what they do, right? But if you combine it with, if it gets out of control and you combine it with some other factors, then your stores are going to close. All right, go ahead, sister.
Okay, so again, we were talking about pharmacy. Thank you, Matt. So pharmacy benefit managers, they own the mail orders. That's the first thing. So they often reimburse independent pharmacies less than the cost of medication, which leads to financial loss and pharmacy closure. So the CareMax, the Express Script, all of those are from pharmacy benefit managers. So in research, we call those confounding variables that you don't normally see. Pharmacy benefit managers, along with the tariffs, are the main reasons why these pharmacies, these independent pharmacies like Walgreens, are closing. That's the main thing. So we always gonna go through theft, rental, people selling. We always gonna go through that, but we never think about the confounding variables. And pharmacy benefit management is a huge one. So that's all I have to say, Matt.
But let's say this though, before you move on to your next point, though, I still think, guys, we have to acknowledge that more than likely there was an increase in theft when the Safety Act and other provisions came into play. When people realized they could steal more and not get locked up in county or stay in lockup overnight, there probably would, because that's when we saw the merchandise in stores like Walgreens being locked up. So there's a direct correlation between some of the lacks, which is what I think there's some legitimate complaints about the Safety Act. There's a direct correlation between what the dollar amount of theft that would require the prosecutors to press charges on you, that dollar amount being increased to $1,000. There's a direct correlation between that and the increase in theft. There's no question about it.
I would agree, Matt. I would agree, but well, like I said, in research, we talk about those confounding variables. Like, these are variables that people don't never look into, right? They look for the outside things, the kind of people we consider the norm. But the pharmacy benefit managers are taking money from retail, and Walgreens is one of those pharmacies that has suffered. But what the pharmacy benefit managers do, with this legislation, what they came in, if you are a large pharmacy, then you are okay. But because they have those online prescription drugs they can get, those considered like small independents. So they don't have to be forced to be bothered with pharmacy benefit managers. That's all I have to say. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate you.
All right, good call, my sister. All right, let's go back to Susan. Susan, real quick, so I can grab some of these phone calls, my sister.
Yeah, super fast. That 90% figure was 80% a couple of months ago in terms of people who couldn't afford their car payments. With the high blood pressure, I commiserate with Carol about that with the doctors. Just saying eat a better diet and not going into detail doesn't help anything. Stuff like hibiscus tea, stuff like actually eating a doggone grapefruit every day, those are actual things that really do lower the blood pressure, and they're not telling us that. We got to figure that out on our own. They're just throwing a pill, saying a generic thing, and going on about the way. And I think that's what she was talking about. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. Good call, Susan. Look, I think your relationship with your primary care physician is important. I agree with the previous caller who said that these doctors are quick to prescribe high blood pressure medication to you, right? We understand there's a direct link between your physician and pharmaceutical drugs, right? They get kickbacks. So yeah, people are probably on on medicine. But the sister, I was trying to ask her the question. I think it was Carol, because I was trying to be clear on what she was saying. I was unclear on if she was saying that high blood pressure medicine was causing kidney damage. That's what I was asking her. Is that what her understanding was? And that's something we would have to look up, guys, and then talk about that, and maybe have some medical professionals on who could guide us in that conversation, because that's a very serious accusation, right? If high blood pressure medicine is causing, but medication usually comes with all of these warnings. Hey, if you take this medication, severe diarrhea, increased risk of heart attack, complications, including death. You hear this every day on these commercials that come on television when they're talking about a new drug. The warnings always include the side effects of medication, right? So I'm sure that is, to Susan's point, though, there's nothing like good old-fashioned, look, I know I had pre-hypertension. I'm 62 years old, going on 63. I don't take any medicine. I probably should, but I've been taking aged garlic and doing some other stuff, some herbs and stuff. And I think my blood pressure is gotten back into a normal range right now. I still drink more alcohol than I should, which is a high blood pressure no, right? So some of the other stuff I'm doing is countering, but I probably need to get on some high blood pressure medication. But hell, now I'm concerned. I need to figure out what I need to be doing and how I need to be doing it. Cedric, welcome to WVON. What's on your mind?
Brother Matt, how you doing today?
Hey, brother.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
You hear me now? Okay. Yeah, hey,
wait, hold up. Because I am the worst host when it comes to breaking on time. Cedric, hold on. We'll get to you when we return on the Matt McGill Show.
All right.
More from Matt McGill coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This is Rufus Williams, and I've got something special for you. I am proud to announce that we're launching the Rufus Williams Travel Club in conjunction with Advantage International. Our first trip, we're staying in the United States and heading to one of the most stunning destinations for culture to cuisine. Join us October 8th through 12th as we explore the charm, the beauty, and the history of Charleston, South Carolina. This isn't your typical getaway. We're walking through history and standing where our stories began. From the roots of Gullah Geechee culture to the International African American Museum, from cobblestone streets to waterfront views. This is more than a trip. It's a cultural vibe. To find out more, visit WVON.com and click the Rufus Williams Travel Club banner. And keep listening for more details. The Rufus Williams Travel Club will turn curiosity into understanding, one destination at a time. We are WVON.
Having healthy kidneys is just as important as having a healthy heart. You need both to live. Too many of us are dying from kidney failure caused by high blood pressure, diabetes, and heart disease. Kidney care matters. So every day, drink more water, avoid smoking, alcohol, and social drugs. Also limit over-the-counter pain medications and take your prescribed medicines on time. This health and wellness Black Care message brought to you by the South Suburban Chicago chapter of the Links Incorporated and powered by Vantiv.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. right here on WVON. I am bringing you a national perspective on all the happenings in the Black community and, of course, politics. It's talk radio for us, by us, and this is where America listens.
It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays from 6 to 9 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. Now back to Matt McGill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
All right, we're back. It's my fault for doing the show from home, guys, because I'm not in control of the calls and bringing people on and getting them off, and timing is a little off. So I'll be in the studio tomorrow. I'll make sure that I come in the studio more often, and so that the show can sound better. That's at the end of the day the bottom line. My board ops can't see me, so there's no hand signals or eye contact with each other. I can't hit what calls I want to bring up or drop or when to drop them. So I apologize for being a lazy ass and not coming into the studio. But I've got some running around to do. Speaking of prescription drugs, I'll give you an example, guys. And did you guys hear that little public service announcement or spot that we played about high blood pressure and kidney disease? That was how perfect timing was that on that spot during our health and wellness month. And basically saying high blood pressure. They talked about alcohol and recreational drugs and exercise and eating right, all of these things. And as one of our listeners on Facebook Live, Jazz Travels Joe says, blood pressure itself, that hurts kidneys, not the meds, right? That's the reason why we got kidney ailments, is because of high blood pressure, period. Also, what else did I want to say? I wanted to say something else and just forgot my train of thought there. God dog it, I forgot it. Anyway, let's go back to the phone calls. And Cedric, welcome to WVON. What's on your mind?
Brother Matt, can you hear me now, man?
Yeah, I could hear you before, bro. I just had to go to commercial break. Yep. Go ahead. You're on. Shoot.
Okay. Hey, you know what? That is true. The pressure from high blood pressure is what hurts your kidneys. So the thing with the high blood pressure medication, if it didn't bring your pressure down, the high blood pressure you had a problem with anyways was going to hurt your kidneys, man. So, I mean, I ain't going to argue either way because I don't have it. You know, they may be telling the truth, but if you have high blood pressure and that medication don't bring that pressure down, it's the pressure that's hurting your kidneys. That's just how it's described in science-wise. But aside from that, this Walgreens situation. I worked at a Walgreens over 30 years ago. And I was making a minimum wage, $4.25 an hour. I was like 16 at the time, right? We had people that was doing the crack era too. We had hypes come in the store and steal. We had a battery wall. We had the cosmetic section. We had the shampoos and deodorant. They would come in and grab a handful and run out. They've always done that. But the difference between then and now is the boomers who were the major shoppers at Walgreens at that time. They were 30 and 40 and 50 years old at that time I'm talking about. And they ran the revenue in that store. And also another moneymaker in Walgreens at that time was the camera department. You had the 35 millimeter film and people would come in and buy that. And that was a lot of money. You brought it right back to Walgreens and got it developed. That was a moneymaker then, right? And on top of that, we had regional managers coming from Deerfield to all these black Walgreens in the neighborhood because my manager was black and she was a boomer. And she worked us to death. We couldn't tell a boomer we wasn't going to do nothing. They was going to fire you. You know what I'm saying? If they said sweep the floor, you had to sweep it. They said mop the floor, you had to mop it because the division manager is coming and I get a grade. So let me ask you this.
So when did that change? Because this reminds me of a story that when Perry and I were doing a show together years ago, and we were always having fun while we were doing the show. Perry and our show used to be half serious and half comedy, right? And Perry was telling the story. I'm trying to remember this correctly. She was talking about how, even though you said you had a black manager, Perry was talking about how we fought to get black managers at Walgreens on South Side, right? That Walgreens, a lot of Walgreens had these white managers. And Perry was saying how Perry was saying we fought to get black managers, right? But then Perry was like, the black managers, when they got there, they were the employees respected the white managers more than they respected the black managers, right? So Perry felt like the customer service and everything was impacted, and she was joking. She was like, "Bring back my white managers," because the service is suffering because the black employees were respecting the black managers less. But you're saying your manager, she wasn't taking no crap off of y'all, huh?
Nah, man. Yeah, she was from the country. and she probably worked, a field. I mean, she just had a work ethic. And, you had to come in there with a tie on, your slacks iron, your schmuck, you had your apron on, and you had to ring up customers who were hurt, and then the neighborhood customers could talk to the manager about anything that they didn't like about what we did. That's just how they rolled back then. The one I worked at in the hundreds, you know what I'm saying? That's just what it was. So, and that I was a time, man, do you remember it used to be Walgreens used to pop up on every corner in the black neighborhood at, probably late 90s, early 2000s. You remember that?
Oh, absolutely, bro.
Walgreens was making money. So,
the restaurants were making money. Walgreens used to have little restaurants in there, brother. I remember the Walgreens. Like I said, I grew up with one on 47 and King Drive. They had a restaurant in there. The one on 55th and Lake Park had a little restaurant. Man, breakfast was booming in Walgreens back in the day. Man.
So, okay. All right. So that's 30. I'm looking at a 30-year window now, right?
Yeah.
We done went through a time when Walgreens started to boom. And at the same time they started to boom, the demographic that shopped at Walgreens the most was getting older. And then the new customers just didn't deal with Walgreens like the boomers did. And that's just a sad reality that a generation, unfortunately, and it's sad to look at, but the country is not catering towards the consumer of the 90s and the 80s, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just, it's a hard pill to swallow. But Walgreens, ultimately, they're going to go down anyway because white boomers don't deal with the Walgreens like they used to outside of the pharmacy. And the lady just got the phone and said the way they play the money in the pharmacy is hurting Walgreens. So Walgreens like, why I do now? And the first thing they're going to do is cut in the black neighborhood. That's, I mean, I'm not gonna take no stuff in the black neighborhood. I mean, y'all talk about white supremacy all day. So let's apply it here. I'm not about to take a loss in no black neighborhood. And that's just a sad reality. But when you just take what y'all talk about all the time and critical thinking, the first thing they're gonna do is close in your neighborhood, buddy.
And you know what? And around what years did grocery stores start having pharmacies, right? Because I would imagine when I was a kid, you couldn't go to Jewel and get prescriptions, right? I mean, Jewel had Osco, so maybe,
Right.
but
CVS
Osco
wasn't even around. In the 90s, CVS wasn't even in the black neighborhood.
No, I agree.
In 95, 94.
I agree.
CVS, Walgreens was the top drug dog in the black neighborhood.
Ain't no doubt about it. But I think Walgreens started slowly but surely. Walgreens started getting competition from grocery stores, Target, Walmart, right? All of these other places probably came in and they were undercutting Walgreens, right? Because the drug prices were a little higher at Walgreens because Walgreens was a little closer to you. So if you had to travel a little further, then those drug prices were coming down a little bit. So as we saw the emergence of Target and Walmart and of course Costco and Sam's, then the drug business got more competitive for Walgreens, brother.
Yeah.
No, good call. Good call. Ain't no doubt. Look, I know what I was forgetting to tell you. I was saying how today I'm going to pick up my 97-year-old cousin's prescriptions from Jewel, right? The pharmacy at Jewel, right? So, she, as a senior over the years, of course, would get, let's say back in the day, she probably was going to a Walgreens, but it's more convenient for seniors if they're going to go grocery shopping to go and get their medicine from the same store that they're grocery shopping in. So Walgreens, definitely the competition on the pharmaceutical side. And let's not forget the liquor side, because Walgreens started changing their liquor service, right? Man, the liquor business was booming for Walgreens, especially that one on 75th and State Street. They used to stay open late, but see, they probably started having some issues over there, and they had to reduce their liquor footprint. So there are a lot of reasons. It's not just crime. So everybody quit being sensitive about the crime thing, but that Safety Act and the provisions that change the dollar amount to be prosecuted for theft Also, probably increased theft in these stores, guys. That's just a reality. 2:30, we'll take more phone calls when we return on the Matt McGill Show.
Hope you're having a marvelous Monday afternoon, Chicago. I'm Logan Page, and here's what's happening in your local and national news. More than 100 union workers at Brookfield Zoo, Chicago, have gone on strike after contract negotiations failed. Members of Teamsters Local 727 accuse management of unfair labor practices and disagree over healthcare coverage. Zoo officials say trained specialists are continuing to care for the animals without interruption. The zoo remains open with normal operations while leadership works to maintain standards and resolve the dispute. In other news, an ramp to the outbound Edens Expressway is closed in Morton Grove due to a hazmat incident involving a leaking tanker truck. Illinois State Police say the substance is sodium bisulfate, an acidic compound used in pools and industrial systems. Crews are using sand to contain and absorb the pill. Drivers are advised to avoid the area or expect delays. In other news, the ripper effect of the abrupt shutdown of Spirit Airlines is still being felt by air travelers. Perry Williams has more.
The discount flyer ran out of cash and failed to secure a $500 million federal bailout, not to mention facing surging fuel prices. This air passenger at O'Hare Airport was able to rebook a different airline that had a discount fare.
I jumped on United's website, and they actually had a deal for Spirit flyers that capped their costs.
United says they're capping fares for Spirit travelers for the next 2 weeks. Southwest, JetBlue, and Delta are offering reduced fares for Spirit flyers. I'm Perry Williams.
And the stage is set for the Met Gala this evening. Scott Pringle has a preview.
The Metropolitan Museum of Art is rolling out the red carpet for celebrities, with the dress code for this evening being Fashion is Art and the theme Costume Art. Organizer Nicole Phelps says they're ready to go.
There have been many preparation meetings where we share our lineups and the sort of plan and how we're going to get it all done. So far, so good.
The Met Gala is being co-chaired by Beyonce. Also, Venus Williams and Nicole Kidman on hand. Vogue magazine says this year's dress code encourages attendees to consider the many ways that designers use the body as their blank canvas. In New York, I'm Scott Pringle.
I'm Logan Page, and that's what's happening in your news now on WVON 1690 AM.
Meeting the Moment. WVON, in partnership with the Chicago Community Trust, developed Meeting the Moment to amplify the voices of nonprofits across Chicagoland, giving them the communication tools they need to expand their reach and turn awareness into action. Right now, our communities are facing real challenges, from economic uncertainty to public safety to access and equity. But in the middle of it all, there are organizations doing the work quietly, faithfully, powerfully. With Meeting the Moment, we'll have honest conversations about the issues shaping our region and, more importantly, the solutions happening on the ground. And each week, we'll feature a Chicagoland nonprofit making a difference. You'll hear their story and find out how you can support their work. Because Meeting the Moment is about more than just awareness. It's about impact. Join the Meeting the Moment movement, a program designed for the doers. For more information, visit WVON.com/Meeting the Moment. Listen every Saturday at 12 noon, right here on WVON 1690, the talk of Chicago. Let's meet the moment together. Powered by the Chicago Community Trust.
Video gambling terminals aren't owned by us. They're owned by out-of-state corporations that have never invested in our neighborhoods or our families. They take the money, we take the hit. These machines kill union jobs and drain pension funds for first responders. When these machines move in, crime goes up, break-ins rise. Our community pays the price. We deserve good union jobs, safer streets, and real investments that stay here and build something lasting. Tell City Council, repeal video gambling terminals. Paid for by Neighborhoods Safety First Association.
This is Kamini Khan, certified financial planner professional. For the past year, I've been on a mission to change lives and build wealth in our community. Together, we're changing the paradigm. This year, I'm back with a new series, Wealth Strategies, Money Talks. Join me every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. on the Rufus Williams Show as we have thoughtful discussions around building wealth in our community. We'll discuss topics like investing, savings, tax strategies, retirement, and all things money. Yes, that's Tuesday at 8:30 a.m., so set those alarms. Also, be sure to check out the podcast at WVONWealthShow.com.
Komini Khan is a certified financial planner professional with Optimal Planning Partners in alliance with Equitable Advisors, LLC member SIPC in Oak Brook, Illinois. For more information, please call 630-575-5046.
Now back to Matt McGill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
I'm your boogeyman. That's what I am. I'm here to do whatever I can. Be it early morning, late afternoon, or at midnight. It's never too soon to wanna please you, to wanna keep you, to wanna.
All right, everybody in Chicago knows Al's beef. If you don't, then you're not a real Chicagoan. So we're going to talk to the owner, Chris Pacelli, of the original Al's Beef in Chicago, coming up at 2:50, guys. Can't wait to talk about this legendary staple of the city of Chicago. Let's get the background information on Al's Beef. Al's Beef was also featured in, what's the TV show? We'll ask Chris when he comes up here at 2:50 about that TV show, of course. Anyway, 591-1690. Guys, coming up at 3 o'clock, of course, Atiba and LaDonna Ray on this Monday. A lot going on, as always, in the world that we live in. This is just being black and living in America. That's what it's all about on this show. And hopefully getting your input as we is, because, you know, look, the Walgreens story, and I did not think this story was going to wind up being talked about during the entire show. In fact, I thought the talking about Essence Fest was probably going to get you guys up and going. But anyway, let's hit the phone calls because I got a lot of them. Let's go to Randy. Randy, welcome to WVON. What's on your mind?
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Hey, Randy. What's going on, brother?
It is fine, my man. You know, I'm going to talk to you, I guess about a few things afterwards and stuff. I guess when I can catch you. But I want to talk to you on get a few things straight. I want to let you know I was at the press conference today over at Walgreens. I live less than 3 or 4 blocks from the Walgreens. I live in the Chatham area, right? And I want to let you know it was a good turnout. I have no more pictures and everything like that. And I want to let you know that it's not what you think. It was not retail theft, right? You know, what
okay, let's take that off the table.
No. I have to slow you down because I'm trying to tell you because you have presented this, and I'm just saying, I'm just trying to let you know. Are you there?
Go ahead.
Okay. Because I don't want to hold other people over and everything. I just want to be real quick and everything like that. One, there's a fellow by the name of Stefano Pacina. Stefano Pacina is the individual. He's a multi-billionaire, who's 79 years of age, bought Walgreens last year for approximately nearly $10 billion, right, back in July, August 2025. They were doing the restructuring and everything like that. The people, the company, the different Walgreens, and they admit this, that all the Walgreens that was on the list for closing, not one of them in white areas. So I lived on the north side. I lived on the north side for 6 years, from 1983, 1989. I had a condo, Stratford Place condominium, 561 with Stratford Place. I was there from 84 to 89 at that one particular location. And I was at 3510 North Pine Grove, around the corner, okay? So that's in Addison, over there by the baseball park. You remember that time when you, me, Bomani, Mike Jones, more than 9 years ago, we were over there watching the game, okay? So I just wanted to be quite clear. One, the other thing was that, yes, there was online competition. There was online companies that were competition, but the guy is doing restructuring. None of the, they're not closed. Not one Walgreens in Deerfield, Illinois. Deerfield, the demographic is 59% white, less than 10 or 11% black, and less than 15 or 60% Asian, right? The income level there is like, you have to be 91 to $115,000, $20,000 for one individual. So what actually is going on is that they have decided that there are certain areas that they're going to cut certain stores, and so that they did not. And I asked them, I talked to the people at the store today on 86 and Cottage Grove, face to face. I went inside the store one of the people was there. And I asked, I said, you closing in these stores, Walgreens stores in Beaufort? He said, no. I said, well, why are you picking 5? All the stores you pick, all in black and predominantly Mexican areas, right? And then he got quiet. And so there are two. There's a sister. Her name is a wife. There's 200 Pharmacy, black-owned business since 1982. The White family, right, on 91st and Stony. Then there's Edwin Mudro, 3700 West 16th Street in North Lawndale, black-owned. Del Car Drugs Incorporated. Been there since the 1960s. The Mudro family. So you have 2 black pharmacies you can go to in Chicago, right? And so what I'm saying is that let's be careful about the narrative that you're pushing, because see, well, I know you're trying to clean up a little bit and trying to do whatever, but don't be very careful with that, because that's not it. Because like you said, white people still, but that's not what you're saying. That's not what you said. Okay.
Hey, Randy.
But I want to hear your response. But I want you to understand.
Randy.
Go ahead.
Randy. You and I are friends, right? So we can talk, can't we?
Yeah. Okay, come on.
All right. Let me just say something. And I challenge anybody who listened to the beginning of the show. I started out my comment by saying Walgreens businesses close for one reason, because they're not making money. That's what I said. That's what I started off with. That was my premise. That's all it was. I said, hold on. I said, stores closed.
No, I'm not trying to interrupt you. See, that's what I'm saying.
No. Okay. I'm sorry. Because I'm not in the studio. Because I'm not.
I'm not the filibuster, because I talked to Edwin Morrow, and he talks about that what you're dealing with is called zip code map of reallocation.
Hey, Randy, brother, I respect everything that comes out of your mouth, because you are well researched and well thought out. Would not challenge a single word of what you said. All right. All I'm saying is, when I came on the show, I said that businesses leave because they're not making money. They don't leave when they're making money. That was my point.
You can't link the two together. You can't link the two together, because
hold on, Randy.
The business that left, they got the tip money too. Let's talk about that. The tip money they got, like the Target got right here on 85th and Cottage Grove.
In fact, Randy, we're going to be talking about TIF later on this week. I've got a reporter coming on that's going to be talking about TIF, and I need to get Ernest Sawyer on to talk about it. But and good call, Randy, because I'm gonna try to move to one of these other calls before I run out of time. Guys, calm down. When I came on, I said businesses leave because they're not making money. All right? That's what I said. I said they leave because they're not making money. And then I said, I think somebody called in, or I might have even said, what's embarrassing is that when you walk into a Walgreens, everything is locked up. And then the conversation kind of spawned from that. My absolute second caller said, Matt, the reason why Walgreens are leaving is a combination of theft, tariffs, people shopping online, because he said pharmaceuticals is how they make their money. People are shopping online, and people are going to the big box stores like Walmart and So he didn't place and say the reason why they're closing is because of theft, because of black people stealing. He said it's one of many factors. Rent might be one as well. We had a caller call in that said the pharmaceutical managers. I agreed with what everybody said, right? So it's not just because of theft, guys. Theft is one factor of many. Pharma people, I think, honestly, guys, I think the Walgreens business model, and I said this earlier, is probably an old model that's not going to succeed, because people are getting their prescription drugs delivered to their homes. You have online. I talked to a buddy of mine who worked for Walgreens for years a year ago, and he told me He told me that the reason why Walgreens left, and this was the one I think he was talking about on 35th, maybe, he said was because of pharmaceutical sales, right? He didn't say theft. This is a guy that worked for Walgreens for years. He said it was because of pharmaceutical sales, right? Now, people noted that there was an increase in theft because of some of the Safety Act and all of that, right? And people, but not just in Walgreens, in every store. In every store. People, it went up from $300 to $1,000. So of course there was going to be an increase. But still, at the end of the day, the store is closed, I'm sure is closing. And they're not going to answer that question, honestly, though. If you ask them, why are you closing in a black or brown neighborhood as opposed to any other neighborhood, they're not going to answer that question, honestly. They're just not, right? It's probably for a combination of reasons where theft is one of many. I said when I first came on the show, right? My number one reason I said was, I didn't even get into theft or anything. I said, is that they're not making money. If you're not making money, you're leaving. That's the bottom line. I think that model is old. Walgreens used to be the only game in town. In your neighborhood, you go there and you can get a little bit of everything. You get drugs. Randy talked about it. You got some local drug places. Some mom and pa's existed back in the day. But Walgreens probably put them out of business because they were buying in bulk and their prices come down. Now you got stores like Costco and Sam's that buying in bulk and they're outpricing Walgreens. I remember, man, I hadn't gone to Walgreens in years for a prescription. And I remember going there one time just out of convenience. And I was like, holy crap. This is expensive compared to, I was going to Costco, right? So there's forget theft, guys, because everybody's focusing on theft. Walgreens is closing because their balance sheet is not matching up. They're not making enough profit. So whatever the reasons are, that's why they're leaving, guys. If they were making money, maybe it's on them. Maybe it's mismanagement. But still, stores close because they're not making enough money, guys. All right. You can factor in theft into that, whatever. Hey, guys, Walgreens that closes in a Mexican neighborhood. Guess what? I'm sure Mexican stealing is a factor. A Walgreens closing in a white neighborhood. White people stealing is a fact. So I'm not blaming black people, man. Okay. I'm just saying. I started the show by saying Walgreens is closing because they're not profitable over there. If they're profitable, they are not going to close. The reason why you get in the business is to make money. All right, Chris Pacelli is going to join us when we return. The original Al's Beef. You've seen it featured on the hit television show The Bear and Others. All of that, I'm sure. Anybody from Chicago, they're talking beef. They're talking Al's Beef when we return on the Matt McGill Show.
More from Matt McGill coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
You've got dreams, so don't let an old cannabis record stand in the way. New Leaf, Illinois offers free legal help to help you clear old cannabis records and other eligible records. Whether it's a job application, a lease, or just peace of mind, a clean record opens doors. Call 872-NEW-LEAF or visit newleafillinois.org today. New Leaf, Illinois, because your past doesn't define your future.
Smart conversations with smart people makes us smarter. And that's exactly what you get on Bound and Woven with Rufus Williams. This isn't surface level talk. This is where authors become experts, where books become blueprints, and where ideas are challenged, not just discussed. From Colin Woodard on Nations Apart, to Gloria J. Brown Marshall breaking down the history of protests in America, to Gary Tyler sharing a story of resilience and redemption and stitching freedom. These are not interviews. These are conversations that matter, because every book has a story and every story has a deeper meaning. Bound and Woven with Rufus Williams on Bond TV. You can catch us on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV+, the WVON app, and VON.TV.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, and family history of kidney failure. All three put you at risk for kidney disease. We are at increased risk and should get screened. This is host LaDonna Ray. Every Tuesday in May at 3:30 p.m. during our Health and Wellness campaign, the National Kidney Foundation of Illinois will talk with us about kidney health, treatment options, free health screenings, and more. Tune in Tuesdays at 3:30 p.m. and go get screened. Visit kidneymobile.org or call 312-321-1500. That's 312-321-1500.
At WVON, we believe your health is your wealth. That's why in May and June, we're putting wellness front and center because too many of us are putting ourselves last. From heart health to mental wellness, prevention to daily habits, it all counts. In May and June, we'll be sharing important information to help you live healthier lives. Because your health is more than personal, it's powerful. Join WVON in our commitment to stronger bodies, clearer minds, and a healthier community.
If you are a healthcare provider or have your own practice and want to reach tens of thousands of WVON motivated listeners, connect with us at info@wvon.com or call 773-247-6200 to invest in an outreach campaign during our health and wellness initiative. Let's do it together.
It's Rufus Williams.
Chris, good morning. Welcome to VON.
Ain't no jive on the morning drive with Rufus Williams.
Weekdays at 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. Now back to Matt McGill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
All right, we are back. Everybody on Facebook Live, please share the show. Share it right now, man. I've been getting criticized for not having you guys share on Facebook. Share the show, share the show. If you're a Chicagoan, Italian beef is part of your diet. It just is. If you don't know about Al's beef, then maybe we should question your Chicago chops. You might not be a real Chicagoan. Al's beef has been around and has been a part of Chicago for as long as I've been around, at least, and enjoying Italian. Nothing like going over on Taylor Street, guys, and getting a beef and then going across the street and getting Italian ice. You're living the right way as a Chicagoan when you do that. Chris Pacelli is the owner and with us here. Chris, welcome to WVON, man. It's great having you on the show.
Good afternoon, man. Yes, it has been a long time since I've been on this show.
I tell you, man, we're talking two institutions here, WVON and Al's Beef, brother.
Oh, yeah, I remember when it was all music.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's something else.
During the 60s. So I'm showing my age now.
That's all right. Hey, I was born in the 60s, man. Well, so when
I was born in the 40s.
That is so. Look, brother, you got some story. Hey, look, I'm gonna have to get you in the studio one day.
One day, sure.
You're here in Chicago, right?
Yes, I live in Chicago.
Yeah, we get you in the studio. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get you in the studio one day, where we can talk food, Chicago music, Chicago neighborhoods, Little Italy, and all that stuff.
Sure. This whole area within about 2.5 miles was 5 or 6 different nationalities that grew up here: Mexican, Italian, Greek, Black, Jewish. It was all a mixture when I was growing up in the 60s, and pretty much got along. Matter of fact, we fought more among ourselves than anything else.
Now, when did Al's Beef start?
Al's Beef started, well, actually, my grandfather is the person who invented it back in 1917. But my Uncle Al, he's the one who started the first established brick and mortar back in 1938.
Wow.
And the reason why he started it was a front for a bookie place.
Of course.
Well, you got to remember the 30s, the Italians, you know, we were the talk of the town at the time, you know what I mean? Okay. So, you know, he did some time in jail, got out. He didn't meet doctors and lawyers when he was there. So when he got out, his friends were all, you know, street people.
Yep.
So he opened it up because they wanted to open it up as a bookie place. But he says, I got the perfect front. I'll do what my father did. You know, but his father actually just catered here and there to some parties or some weddings. They used to call them peanut weddings in them days. You know, around, that was 1917, 1918 in them days. So he copied him and created this, but my uncle was always in some kind of trouble. So my father, which is his brother-in-law, had to get him out of trouble, and they became partners. And then my mother and father had 3 boys. I'm the youngest of them. And we continued the legend until today. We're still there.
So let me ask you this: is the Italian beef sandwich, or just Italian beef itself, is that native to Italy, or is that an Italian American thing?
No, it's a Chicago item. So it's jardiniered with the other item we make. It's invented here in Chicago, around Taylor Street, on Taylor Street actually, because I'm still in the same house my grandfather lived in.
Wow. See, that's what I'm talking about. That and so I love the connection to, hey man, look, my grandfather was in jail. Hey, look, my grandfather.
Oh, my uncle.
Your uncle was in jail. Look,
my grandfather was all right.
My grandfather was all right. Look, my grandfather went to jail, man, and the people that he came out with, they got their own little business going as well. So that's just the history of of America.
Everybody starts off somewhere.
and guess what, Chris? My grandfather became a bookie. He became a bookie. Brother. Oh man,
that was the way to, that's the way you made money in them days.
Exactly, right. So that's the way you had to do it. So you're carrying on the legacy?
Yes, I am.
And this has been amazing for you, man. And Al's Beef, obviously, that we've had so many places open up. Part of that legacy, I would have to imagine, has created the competition that you have, right? I mean,
well, how that started was with my uncle back in 1938, and his friends started seeing how good and how lucrative it was.
Yeah.
They started opening up beef stands for not as fronts, but to create money so they can gamble.
Yeah.
And because gamblers never keep any money in their pocket.
Exactly.
So, and that's how the item was. And if this item, this beef sandwich, was created before pizza was even involved in Chicago. Pizza didn't come in until the 40s, after the Second World War. That's when it really got prominent here. But hot dog, Vienna hot dog, and Al's Italian beef, and the pizza were all born in the same. Well, hot dog was in the 1800s.
Yeah.
But that the beef sandwich was the second thing, and then came but we're always noted as a deep dish pizza city.
I would imagine. I would imagine, Chris, and then Chicago having the stockyards here had to help with the beef business. You know what I'm saying? So
sure. I mean, we were in the area. It's like ribs. My father told me when he was a kid, they used to throw that away until somebody took it and created an item out of it. That created a food product. But that was like waste. So the Italian beef, the part of it that we use is the top sirloin butt, which is the hardest, toughest part of the beef. But when you create the roast and the thin cutting and the way we prepare it, you think you're eating filet mignon,
brother. I love
in a sandwich.
I love it, Chris. I gotta look. So let's plan a time for you to come in the studio, because I would love to have this conversation of what it was like for you growing up in Chicago as an Italian American, all the race issues, and just a real honest conversation about race in Chicago.
There wasn't really a big race issue.
No. That's cool.
People think there was, but I'm telling you, we got along.
That's what I want to talk about. And of course, food, as well as music. And the first time you listened to WVON as a as a young spry fellow in the 60s.
Yeah.
when we came on the air, and that history. The locations, give us the locations of Al Beef before we go off the air.
Well, you got 183rd in Harlem. You got Wells in Ohio. You got Wrigleyville on Clark Street. And we also have Western and Elston. So there's 5, and Taylor Street is the original one.
Right.
Well, it's
Which
not
one?
the original. Actually, it's the second one.
And the one that was featured on the Bear was which one?
Oh, they weren't featured on the Bear. Actually, the Bear just asked us for consulting. The Bear show was actually out of Mr. Beef's place.
Oh, it's Mr. Beef's. Okay, that's right.
Right.
I'm getting confused. Sorry.
We were just a consultant, but that was nice. They liked the way I talked. I said they liked my Italian jargon.
Brother, I know you got some stories. I can't wait to hear them and get you in, brother. Thanks so much, Chris Pacelli. Let's go to Al's Beef on